you always wonder, well, what if oil prices sort of settle down? What if there is some easing of concern of the flow through the Strait of Hormuz, and you've had such a run up in these energy stocks that people say, okay, oil's had as much of a run as it's going to have, and maybe it pulls back a little bit to maybe between 70 and 75, so you have some profit taking. I can't, at some point that probably happens. I can't predict when that happens, but the profit taking is not going to take these names back down to where they were 3 weeks ago. And what I mentioned
Right.
on Monday too, the fact is these companies are realizing this higher price today. This is a big boost for their bottom line as long as it lasts. And in the meantime, a lot of companies are probably layering hedges, typically with callers to set a higher ceiling and a floor. So the net of it all is this is benefiting the bottom line, the margins, the cash flow for all these companies here in 2026, and we'll see how long that lasts. So you don't want to bail on these names, in my opinion. You want to stick with them here, just because there's not going to be any clear resolution to what's going on over there in the Middle East anytime soon.
So Bob, in this increased vol environment, would you sell some option premium?
You know,
Would you sell
I've
puts
thought
or
of,
sell some calls or
you know, I thought about
sell
that, but I
spreads?
really don't. I mean, I really don't want to do that right now. I just want to see how things play out. Just given the upside risk, I'd rather have that maintain that exposure for now. You can say,
Okay.
well, maybe seeing can you write $50 calls or whatever, and that's probably maybe a smart move on part of your position. But in the meantime, if oil goes to 80, 90, if there's that 10, 15% case that goes to $100 a barrel, I don't want to lose that exposure.
Yeah.
And I don't see huge downside, particularly relative to my cost basis in these names. So, in this environment with this uncertainty and the risk to the upside, I think there's still more risk to the upside than the downside in the very near term.
Yep.
So I'm not
Okay.
inclined to do that. I'm not inclined to do that right now. But the names that we like, the levered names to oil is just to repeat what we said before. CNQ, Apache, Devon, Oxy, EOG on the E&P side, Chevron, Exxon on the integrated side, and the refiners benefit here too because what happens is with that Saudi refinery getting hit, now you're not having new refineries built and you don't have a lot of spare refining capacity around the world. So what's really getting squeezed is the products, the diesel and the gasoline on the global market. So you want to stick with your exposure on Valero's to where we have some exposure.
Yep.
Um, and then the other name that I don't own, but I've been watching and haven't been inclined to chase it here is Cheniere Energy, LNG, which is the direct beneficiary of the LNG market with 30% of the global LNG not being able to get out of Qatar right now with the Strait of Hormuz. That's not
Yep.
benefiting the U.S. natural gas prices right now because we're entering into the shoulder period. But that the longer this lasts, the bigger the benefit it is for them. So that's sort of where
So
we
you
are
kind
right
of
now.
missed it. So you kind of missed it on that one, and I want to chase it. Um,
Yeah,
is
I'm
that
still
is that
watching
kind of
it.
how you're looking at that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still watching. I got to look at it and see if I want to buy it here on any pullback, but I haven't bought it yet.
Okay. And then what in your mind? I mean, I guess setting your oil fields on fire is going to take us north of 80, up into the 80s to 90s. What are there? What other catalyst besides the duration of this kind of gets your oil prices even 80 to 100? You start creeping into the 90s.
Just the longer the Strait of Hormuz remains blocked. I mean, the
Okay.
more that oil doesn't get into the global market. And again, setting the fields ablaze, that's probably a low risk, less than 10% chance. But it just, you think of things that could occur that are crazy, that are scorched earth. It's a very low probability, but it's something that, is not out of the realm of possibility. So
Yeah.
the catalyst really is just the more
Getting the
this
Strait of
oil
Hormuz
doesn't get,
open or not.
yeah, the longer this oil not being able to get into the market lasts, the tighter that makes it for supply.
Okay.